give you this after the meeting.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I was thinking the old business was the same.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
This one's being withdrawn. Looking at this. Oh, all right. Okay. All right, so we only have those two.
Look, it's a full house.
It says 8:30 on mine. I can
Yep.
start?
We can start, we have a quorum.
Good morning. This is the Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board meeting of March 7th. It's called to order, and present at this meeting are
Mayor Hertzberg, Corporation Counsel's Office.
Kyle Gregory.
Julia Marshall,
Jeff Romano.
Hillary Donahue. Cynthia Carter.
Nicole Fragnito.
And Kate Auwetter.
First order of business is to approve the minutes from the meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Oh,
Go ahead.
You can fight over it.
No.
Any modifications or discussion? None?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
No oppositions, abstentions, meetings are adopted. This is not a public hearing today, but Kate, could you please review?
Yeah, we'll start, actually, we'll start at the top of the agenda. And just to let you know that the CA 24-2402 Certificate of Appropriateness for 940 Comstock has been withdrawn, and there will be a resubmittal later, and that's for Oakwood Cemetery. And then under new business, application Z 2861, which is a project plan review, that also has been withdrawn and pending revised designs. So that will be coming back to us. So actually, I'm going to start with, I'm going to hop forward to the minor site plan review 2413 for 1146-54 Salt Springs Road. This is this is renovations to Building 1 of in the Elmcrest Children's Center. This is a National Register eligible. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm switching around in my application here. Yeah. Actually, we are starting at 960 Salt Springs Road. And this is new construction. You were first on the agenda. I missed. I switched the addresses there. They're both on Salt Springs. So this is application. It's a special permit 2402, at 960 Salt Springs Road. This is new construction on a National Register eligible residence in the Elmcrest Children's Center. So. No?
No,
he's
it's the other one.
I've got these completely, yeah.
Yeah. He's
I apologize, everyone.
1146.
You are 1146, 54 Salt Springs Road, a minor site plan review, renovations to a National Register eligible former firehouse. Have I got it right now? Okay, thank you, Fuad. And now you may go, after all of that, in front of the viewing audience. Okay, there
It's
we go.
weird to be on this side of the table.
Yes,
I had 10 years on the other side.
yeah.
So, some background. This firehouse used to belong to the college. It used to be our performing arts center for years and years and years. And under some misguided notion, I think 15 years ago or so, we sold it. And in 2020, we did a project in the area here and across the street at Lemoyne Plaza for an entrepreneurship center and renovated our Barnes & Noble bookstore. And part of the grant allowed us to buy the firehouse back. So brought it back into the fold of the college. So we're really excited about that. We've taken a lot of time to figure out what to do with the building. Holmes King had done a study for us to look at, whether we could use it for the makerspace or the entrepreneurship center, or maybe we should relocate the bookstore, et cetera, et cetera. Well, since then, we've built out the makerspace at Lemoyne Plaza. We've renovated the Barnes & Noble bookstore. And now we're starting to, we just, well, we hired Holmes King before, but now we've just hired them to actually start working with us to develop a program to understand what to do with the building. In the meantime, we wanted to do some site work and get some parking because also across the street are our finance offices, and we need some spaces for parking for the moment. So what you have before you is a site work, parking, and a square layout. So the firehouse is located over here on our campus. It really pins the corner of Salt Springs and Springfield Road here at the entrance to campus, and we're really excited to manage entry to our campus from that point. So while we haven't pegged the program down completely, we're heading into probably some kind of our intent is it's a student use, student-facing program of some sort. And what's distilling into it is it's going to be some kind of a cafe, most probably, and a multi-purpose room of some sort on the second floor, and some kind of offices and educational program of some kind. So that's kind of where we're at on our end with where it's going. But we wanted to get the site work process started and done. And so what we have here is the parking, and then we have some kind of a square type terrace area that would come off of what would be the garage doors for the fire truck, and also mitigate the grade because so it necessitated, which we weren't crazy about, but we had to. The plaza had to stop, planting had to take over the grade, and then that L-shaped walk is actually a ramp to get you down to the sidewalk. And then we also are going to be working with the city to get a crosswalk there because currently there isn't one. And we have done a lot of work with the city recently. Over here, we've redone all these sidewalks, and we've added sidewalks all the way out here. And we've also added flashing crossing beacons. We have removed all of the on-street parking here in the neighborhood, and we've added bike lanes. And that all stems from the work that we've done on the neighborhood planning grant that was a joint effort between the city, the county, and the town of DeWitt, with recommendations from EDR, our consultant, as to how to improve the neighborhood streetscape, pedestrian friendliness, da-da-da-da-da-da. And so exciting things are going on. We keep sort of expanding the footprint of the good things that we're doing, and this is just sort of another piece of that.
We mentioned that this application
That's correct. So our consultant made a mistake and included our diagrams of the interior, I think, and also elevations of things that we were testing out to discuss in our steering committees of how things could look, what the footprint of bathrooms and an elevator might be, and that kind of thing. And he kept calling it the bookstore project for some reason. I think he had a brain fart. And I kept saying, there is no bookstore. I just renovated Barnes & Noble across the street. I'm not moving the bookstore. That was part of a study from 2 years ago, and we didn't go in that direction because we furnished him the materials. But unfortunately, I was really busy at the time, which is why I hired them to do the permitting for me. And anyway, things got a little bunched up. So the only thing that's for consideration is the site work. The other project has not even been designed yet. We've just retained the architect. We're about to begin that whole process in steering committees and hearings, listening sessions, and all that kind of stuff.
So Kate, you can just amend
Yes.
the application.
Yep.
Do you need anything from me to do that?
I'll check with zoning to make sure that there's not anything that else is required, but I think that that'll be fine. Yeah.
'Cause I spoke to
Probably just an
zoning.
email from you, yes.
Yeah, when I got their agenda and stuff, I called right away, and we struck out a whole bunch of stuff
Okay.
that's just not part of the application.
Okay, okay, so,
I'll take comments.
All right, thanks for, can you go back to the site plan then, so that we can draw, zero in on that? So if you can enlarge that to talk about material use, that will be,
The plan.
your planting
Yeah.
plan? Or layout plan?
Oh, there you
There
go.
you go, okay. Yeah, actually, probably the plan. Layout
that's
plans. Yeah, that's great, thank you. Can you speak to the materials that will be used specifically for the retaining wall?
I can a little bit.
Plaza space?
I can a little bit. My consultant's away on vacation after he bombed this application. But, so one of the things that they intended to do with their design, other than, bringing a connection here, is to have a plaza space that could have, tables and chairs and umbrellas, to use when the weather is nice out. But they also wanted to acknowledge the garage bays for the fire trucks in terms of the lanes, et cetera. And so there's a mixture of brick pavers and concrete, and the design is basically acknowledging the garage doors. And then there's planting, all around to soften it.
So it's just, it's not any stampcrete, it's real
No,
clay
it's
brick
just
paver?
straight concrete and
Straight
brick pavers, or
Okay.
brick concrete pavers.
Brick pavers, not concrete. Brick. For a historic site, historic material for the historic.
Well, I mean, historically, the
Well-
driveway was asphalt. but
Why don't we back up and please for record, what is there now?
Asphalt.
Asphalt.
Mhm. It's always been asphalt. Yeah.
I like the design in concept, but I'd like to let the building coins around the fire doors take homage, and rather than repeat that in the ground plane, I think you could simplify that.
Sure.
That's just my comment.
Okay.
Let the historic building speak.
Can you speak to the ramp? Is it a walk that recedes in grade based on how it drops, or is there an actual handrail that?
There is an actual handrail. And we also included curbing. We host camps every summer for the visually impaired. So we have to be very careful with all the work that we do. And it ranges from people that, can see, a little bit of light to being fully blind. So it's very important that we offer everything that can assist in that situation. And I've had a serious education in that even, changes in color don't work. And so we're making a lot of effort, but it's difficult with some of our older buildings where the terrazzo is all made to look like porphyry, like Rome. And so we have some yellow tape in places just so that they can, not trip.
So perhaps surface textures might change for line. And I'm looking at the elevation, you have a simple, which, in my opinion, works, a simple pipe rail for a handrail. Is it on both sides of the?
It's on both sides.
Yeah, it's, our size drawings is hard.
Yeah, and we use a stainless steel rail.
Overall site improvements is great. New sidewalks, new curbing, closing off the wide opening, helps for pedestrian access. The parking lot tucked to the side of the building. Minimizes impact on site visually for historic character. Overall, looks pretty good to me. It's a good package.
I think the only thing I would ask is that once you've determined the color of the paver, of the brick paver, that it be documented what it is.
The doors on the,
Oh, we did that to show people for fun what it could look like, and then we'd have like red frames maybe or something like a fire truck, but that's not part of this project. It's part of what would be the upcoming project. So as I said before, a lot of these diagrams we were using to get excitement and start discussion with folks so they can imagine the kinds of things that we could do there, whether, you know, it's a cafe or something with French doors that might spill out onto the square, et cetera. But we haven't committed to any of those things yet. Those are just internal documents, really, which shouldn't have really been shared for a building permit. But anyway, that's the root of what's coming, so we'll be here for another discussion at a different time. Yeah.
Any other comments? Our preview is to just comment. Thank you.
Look forward to working with you.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
so now
you.
it's 9:60.
Now we're at 960 Salt Springs Road, and I apologize for my initial confusion there. This is a special permit, 2402, 960 Salt Springs Road. This is the Elmcrest Children's Center and National Register eligible, and the project proposed is for an expansion of one of the buildings in the complex, Building 1. And here today is Jared McCormick. Yeah, go ahead.
Morning. My name is Jared McCormick. I'm a project architect with Daniel Manning Architects. Elmcrest is looking to expand a program that they've just initiated on campus and renovate the first building on campus as you enter their campus drive that is identified as Building 1. It is one of the original cottages on the campus. Currently has a footprint of like 32 by 60 with a small one-story portion on the back. It's again like one of the original cottages. It's been repurposed for other program stuff, but they are looking to place in effect the what's considered an adolescent mental health respite facility, basically 8 beds with supporting space and staff. And to do that, to get the 8 beds, they're looking to expand a building footprint to the west and then a small footprint to the north on the existing building. Part of the scope of work would be to replace all the existing exterior windows, replace roofing, repair some of the existing soffit, and there's some existing rafter tails that are kind of a scrolled detail on the existing, and then again renovate and add to the exterior. So
Yeah, and if you want, you can flip through if you wanted to, yeah, you go up. There you go. Yep.
this is the newest building, building 18, about a year and a half ago, Dave. They repurposed that building and established 2 6-bed crisis respite programs in there. Basically, the first one of the type of program that they're putting on campus. It's very popular and filled a need. I don't know if you guys need to know what that use is. It's basically adolescents that are in a mental health kind of crisis situation that they're diverting them from having to go to a hospital or emergency room setting. It's a better, more residential style facility for them to deal with what's going on. You can see here, that's the front facade. Basically all double hung windows, the 3/2 pattern. Existing veneer. It's an original stucco on a masonry block exterior wall. A little bit of a limestone entablature around the entrance. windows currently are a vinyl replacement. They're not the original windows that were in there.
Is this building designed by Gordon Wright or by Melvin King? Which one is, because Gordon Wright did most of the campus. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
later on, Melvin King did he do
Actually,
this building?
I thought it was Gordon Wright.
Well, this is one of the first ones,
So-
so if he did the original, then it would be Gordon
It would be
Wright.
Gordon Wright, yeah.
Well, it wasn't clear from here
No.
which one, who was who. Okay.
20 drawings for the building, so it was Gordon Wright.
The existing west one-story wing, is that an addition? I just was wondering, because the material on that appears to be different, and it's not stucco.
It's original. It's part of the original 1920 build. Constructed much differently than, the main part of the building is a 12-inch terracotta-style block with a thick 1-inch plaster veneer on both interior and then a plaster finish on the interior, and then a concrete, I mean, it's a concrete building, concrete floors, concrete beams. This,
It doesn't look good. I guess the question would be,
that little piece there is original.
It's on the original
It's on
drawings.
the original
It's on the
drawings.
original drawings,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I just, because the material and the kind of massing are slightly
Yep.
at odds with the rest, so I was surprised.
do you know, do you have record over time what has changed since the original construction to the building? Obviously, vinyl windows will change.
Windows, there's been it's not, the interior construction does not lend itself to much renovation. The interior walls, besides the main center bearing wall, which is again that terracotta with veneer, they are a 2-inch plaster, or actually more cementitious type material with a heavy gauge lath that are in place and built in integral cove and base and crown and a bunch of other things that are, it's not conducive to easy and quick renovations. You move a wall, you got to deal with floor patching and sealing. It's just a challenging building to do much with. So as you can see here on the site plan, we have our through this addition, we're providing accessibility. These floor elevations are raised about just under 2 feet off of the floor. Instead of trying to keep that in the front. Side, we've got landscaping. As far as how the building was originally put together. There was an original kitchen, everything in there. That was part of it.
The extent of work is within the new additions, or how much modification is happening to the existing structure?
We are
Imagine you're replacing all windows.
Yes, replacing all the windows. There's a few interior modifications just in separating some spaces and realigning some entry points as far as to those rooms.
It looks like you are trying very hard not to destroy the original walls of the original building. It looks like you've just maybe taken windows out to make the connections? What is-
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you go to the into the new addition.
Whenever we're considering something like this, our first task is to maintain as much of the original as possible, which it looks like you've done. And I was concerned when you said you wanted to replace the windows, but since they've been replaced once already, that's not an issue for us. However, you are making the building almost twice the size that it was, and it appears that you're trying to duplicate the exterior, and generally we try to make, it's the,
Make distinction.
yeah, distinction between
Well,
the
we did-
new and the old. I'm pleased to see that you have made the extension that's towards Salt Springs narrower so that it doesn't come off as, the building was very symmetrical.
Mhm.
This changes that. But it is going to appear, given what we have here, that this is part of the original building, and that probably should be addressed.
So we did remove a few of the, there's not much in the detailing of the existing exterior. It's really, flush stucco. There's a little bit of a profile at the base to kind of establish a water table. In the existing, we didn't follow through with that on the addition. We also were addressing the window opening slightly different. We're not creating more of that masonry opening and then infill with a large amount of trim. Instead of, there's also some sill profiles that we're not replicating in the new addition. We're not repeating the scrolled rafter tails. That's going to be a simple eave and fascia.
I guess kind of to the other comment, I was wondering, what is the texture on the existing plaster, since you're planning on going back with another plaster-like material? Is there enough? Is it heavy? I mean, stucco can kind of run the gamut from super heavily textured to finer, almost flat. And I was kind of along the same side of thinking, wondering whether there was an opportunity to make the distinction in the graining of the different materials. I kind of wish that the roof line didn't meet exactly, so it looked like it was an extension of the existing, and maybe sort of de-emphasize that a little bit, or something to help emphasize that it's not original. And I do appreciate that you've at least retained the language and everything, so you're trying to harmonize with what's there. But again, just to sort of second the other comment, that it really feels like it's going to be not terribly evident that this is not part of the original.
When you mentioned roof line, you mean the eave line or the
No, I mean the
hip
ridge
and
line.
ridge line?
The ridge line. Sorry.
Unfortunately, we need that attic space for all of our mechanicals because we don't have a basement under the addition, and the existing basement is only half a basement. So that's actually full of mechanicals for the existing building. So to provide new mechanicals, we're utilizing the third or the attic of the addition. But and I can also speak to the existing stucco is a smooth, relatively smooth finish.
So your structural, the construction of the addition is stud wall,
Yes.
and then it's plastered over, or what's the finish?
Finish is ephes,
Ephes.
drive it.
And then you're showing siding, shake panel that would be on the dormers.
Yes, that's what's currently there. It's just replaced with new material.
Is there any thought maybe changing to, the comments here have been to differentiate the addition from the original building? Has there been any study or concept of changing that surface, that siding choice? On
Yeah,
those
one of our
additions?
original
To make it,
iterations of this was to have a different. We had a clapboard siding.
yeah, because that's a thought that, with the scale of it and then with it too closely matching, we want to differentiate. So that might be a route that you look at again, to pull that out. And then with the ridge line, if that needs to be maintained, could you drop the eave line without affecting your window fenestration, your window heights? If you extended it, just a foot, so it doesn't directly line up with the existing eave line? I know you're gonna treat the soffit separately, or differently, excuse me, from open scroll work to more square end tails, rafter tails. But if you brought that eave line lower, especially on the front right addition, I think it would start to bring that scale down on the addition to let the original building stand on its own. And then coupled with changing the siding, if it was shake or clabbered, that's of era, right? But it differentiates enough that the original building stands whole and alone.
I think we could accommodate that with the roof height. I think we could drop the plate of that wall a little bit to kind of tuck that eave under the existing eave.
Yeah, I think I would reiterate Jeff's comments that would help if you brought that down. And might also consider a different material for the roof as opposed to matching with material. Because the existing roof is asphalt shingle, and you're proposing for the addition to have the asphalt shingle. And I might venture to think that if we went with a different material, it might give it more distinction. And that might be the one thing that you need to do as opposed to the siding material. Because I think clabbered might be appropriate for the time period, but it might also make the building quite busy in terms of touching.
There's other options than clabbered, but I understand your point. I just wanted, not to distract from you, but
No, go ahead.
window, you said you had the original drawings, they were, the fenestration pattern was 6/2, you said, or 4/2?
It's 3/2.
3/2. So that's what you plan to put back in, because
Yes.
what's there now are vinyl replacements?
Yes.
And so that'll be-
Actually, the vinyl replacements are pretty close to what the original was. Just there are the same patterns.
Well, I'm thrown off just from the rendering, they're showing 6/6, so.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
that's
I'm
just,
sorry,
that's,
yes.
that's just
No,
a-
yeah, it's
I'm sure that's
6/6, I'm
just a
sorry.
choice as you're
Yep.
building the model, but
Yep.
just to be clear, so 3/2.
No,
and
it's 6/6, I'm sorry. I was wrong on that. This is,
Those are accurate.
yes, that is accurate, I'm sorry.
And you're coming
Yep.
back with 6/6.
Yes.
Full size window, you're not shortening or shrinking any of the windows, so all openings will remain as is.
Yes.
And the Marvin double hung.
The ultimate.
Ultimate, okay. With stone white finish. Building's gonna remain the same color,
Yes.
or it's going to go to that prairie clay? That's the proposed coloring?
No, it was going to remain the same, I believe.
Could a
Prairie
change-
Clay is pretty close to the existing.
I was just could a change in color
That's where I was,
Yes.
be
That's where I was
instead
going.
of
yeah.
Which is
siding might
where-
be a better.
Right, which is where I was going in
Yep.
terms of that perhaps not the texture of the mask. It would get very busy, but perhaps the texture of the roof and a change of color
color of the
so that the color's not
stucco.
massing up the original building. Would be my comment.
Site work looks good, obviously you need to get your ADA compliant parking, so that's good, that's just straight asphalt,
Yes.
no permeable pavers or anything there.
No.
Just extension of the lot, so then it's adjacent to the new ADA compliant door. And then you're making interior modifications so they can get into the original structure from there.
Yes.
Well,
Have a ramp.
yeah. No elevator or Lulu or anything?
Yes, we have a vertical platform lift in the,
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, well, it's even less than that. It's just a vertical platform lift. All the equipment's right inside the shaft.
One comment is that the fenestration of the rear elevation with the dormer carrying down, that all gets kind of covered over now with the addition.
The existing rear dormer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Well, it's a side door.
Side
well,
elevation?
No, it's the rear.
it's
the
the
rear.
rear
Oh, the
elevation,
rear,
but,
okay.
so it's, just, yeah, where kind of the.
West elevation.
Yeah, right, the west elevation where we lose that, the hierarchy that's created on that, on that elevation. Not really sure where to go on that for just making a comment on it, just to acknowledge, yeah.
I think that if we can lower the roof line, offset.
Lower the eaves,
Yeah,
eaves
lower
line,
Right, the
eaves
eave
line,
yeah.
not the roof line, okay.
Ridge line stays the same,
Same,
but
but
that's,
the eve line,
the
yeah.
eve line could come down a little bit. Because you have equipment in that space as well, on that
Yes.
west addition?
Yes, that dormer is repeated on the back.
Right.
Here.
Right.
So essentially this opening is removed on the west side, so that you can't go between the existing attic and the new attic.
It's just one feature of the original structure. I'm just trying to wrap around my head how to mitigate that, but
I don't know if you can.
it might be a lost feature.
Well, the walls will be in place in there. The roof will just encapsulate, and you'll have that opening between. So it's not as if we're removing and destroying it. Yeah, it was either try to stay under it or go over to, kind of.
There are quite a few trees on the site. Are any of those going to be removed in the course of the construction of the additions?
I think it's actually, may have gone too far. I think it's, there's a pretty sizable oak.
Yeah,
Nicole, the one,
right.
yeah,
The one in the back.
just above
Remains.
that.
Another one in the back.
Demo plan should show everything.
On the north end of.
Is that one gone?
Is that a new tree?
Is that a new tree? Because
It's got a different shape to it.
it looks like it's a new tree because it doesn't exist
And
yet.
it's called, Acer rubrum? Yes, that's a new tree. And one of the pastoral effects is having all those trees on that site. So the less removal, the better. And I would just say, we're trying not to plant too many maples, so you may want to look at swapping that out for another species. All 14% of our canopy in the city is maple, higher.
So this existing tree is what? It's not called out.
Right behind the west addition, right by your hand. there.
The one you're protecting, I'm just, depending on, no, that
Yeah,
one.
that one.
Do you know what that, I mean, just depending on what species
Species
it
it
is in terms of its root system and construction. Hopefully it will survive.
The one right in the very back of that.
That is we took that tree down, that is
So the comment
No
is
need to
moved.
protect.
It's the This one right here, I'm wondering with the addition.
That were
Yeah, those ones, that's what I'm.
in the excavation footprint.
Mm.
And those were also removed tragically. And,
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually,
If I could just ask one question before we,
Absolutely.
so you mentioned a different roofing material. I'm trying to think of what that could actually be, because
I was thinking of standing seam. Something that would distinguish it, but I'm not looking for a fake slate. That would be really bad. But another material perhaps. But I think, you know, I don't want to direct you in terms of what you should do, but if you're taking a look at lowering the eave and perhaps another color for the body of the building, that might be. Right. So, but I was just, these are particular ideas that one would think about.
So what will happen, I will write up the comments and submit them to zoning and summarize the comments, and then you'll have a copy of them as well, so, yep.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Great project, thank you.
Any other discussion that we need to cover?
Nope.
The only thing I'll bring up is when we can have another continuing ed session. To be decided, but the momentum was great from the last meeting,
Okay.
and I think we should.
Sure, I'll set it up.
Good. All right. Motion.
Motion to
Adjourn.